Hi everyone. If you saw my last video, then you know that yes, I was once a Trump supporter. It's not something I'm proud of by any means, but I will keep talking about it because I think it's important to open up a dialogue between current Trump supporters and Democrats before this next election. We simply can't afford to lose, and Trump is more dangerous and unhinged than ever. I mean, just a few days ago, he told Democrats to rot in hell in his Merry Christmas address online.
Well, on Christmas Day, a 77-year-old criminal defendant facing racketeering charges and other felonies in 4 jurisdictions said that his prosecutors should rot in hell. And unlike every other criminal defendant who has said that, he didn't mumble it to himself bitterly, alone in his jail cell awaiting trial. He didn't say it angrily to a cellmate. He said it through the reach of social media to the world. And while he was at it, he said the President of the United States should rot in hell.
It's just gotten really, really strange. Anyways, I want to start off by answering some of your questions in the comments that you had from my last video. A lot of you wanted to know if there was a more particular point where I realized that Trump was a narcissist. The answer to that is no. I saw a lot of media over time, whether it was documentaries, clips like this from my last video.
Donald Trump shows clear signs of the most severe personality disorder. It's called malignant narcissism, and it was first introduced by Erich Fromm, who escaped the Nazis and spent a lot of his life trying to understand the psychology of evil. And he formulated this diagnosis of malignant narcissism, which has 4 components: narcissism, paranoia, antisocial personality disorder, and sadism.
And later on, I read a number of different books. All of these sources helped me confirm that there was a much larger issue at play here when it came to Donald Trump's mental health. It was something that I already knew deep down, but it helped explain a lot of his behavior and the cult-like behavior that was following him. Another question you guys had was if my dad was still a Trump supporter. The answer to that is yes and no. He voted for him in 2016 and 2020. Then in 2021, he voted for Terry McAuliffe in Virginia's election for governor instead of Glenn Youngkin. I do think that was partly because I was working on Terry's campaign at the time and he was trying to support me. Moving forward from that, he has expressed his disdain for Trump, especially post-January 6th. But in general, he's still a Republican voter. I truly think there is a lot of room for discourse between family members about the current state of politics. Like I said, I think there are a lot of people who don't want to be reached, but there are quite a few who do and can be reached, just like my dad. And even though we disagree on a lot, he still supports everything I do. Okay, now I want to dive in a little more about some of the dark things that I noticed during my time with the Republican Party and some things that I realized after the fact. For starters, a lot of the people, especially boys and men that I worked with during that time, were very religious. Usually they were either Catholic or evangelical. Speaking just from my experience, a lot of those same men were either closet gay or complete and total religious hypocrites. They never ever truly practiced what they preached, and they used the religion to cover their tracks and to label themselves as good people.
I believe in God. I am Christian. I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian, to be exact.
I'm Presbyterian. Boy, that's down the middle of the road, folks, in all fairness. I mean, Seventh-day Adventist, I don't know about.
I have great relationship with God. I have great relationship with the evangelicals. And I go to church a lot. Always on Christmas, always on Easter, always when there's a major occasion. And during the Sundays, I'm a Sunday church person. I like to do the right thing where I don't have to actually ask for forgiveness. When we go in church and when I drink my little wine, which is about the only wine I drink, and have my little cracker, I guess that's a form of asking for forgiveness. And I do that as often as possible because I feel cleansed. We were having fun when I said, I drink the wine, I eat the cracker. If I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture.
My wife and I pray for you.
Thank you. Well, I need it probably more than anybody in this room. You can stay if you want it because you need the prayer more than I do, I think. I want to just pray for Arnold if we can for those ratings. I can understand the evangelicals to a certain extent saying, well, maybe he's not as nice as we want him to be, but they also want to see the country be great.
Why do you think those voters are drawn to you?
Well, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian, which means something. Maybe he's not as perfect on the Bible, but I did go to Sunday school for many years, I want to tell you. I get sent Bibles by a lot of people.
Where are all those Bibles anyhow now?
Well, actually, we keep them in a certain place, a very, very nice place.
My second favorite book of all time. What's my first favorite book? The Bible!
The Bible is special. The Bible, the more you see it, the more you read it, the more incredible it is.
An Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. Proverbs, the chapter, never bend to envy. I've had that thing all of my life where people are bending to envy.
2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17. That's the whole ball game.
There's no way I would ever do anything to do negative to a Bible. God is the ultimate. I mean, God created this. And, here's the Pacific Ocean right behind us. So
These are guys who talked about waiting for marriage to have sex, but then weren't. Or were intensely homophobic, but then pursuing relationships with other men. Another one of the most hypocritical topics was abortion. One man that I knew was extremely pro-life in public, saying things like, women made their choice when they had sex. Now they don't have a choice. The same exact guy had his girlfriend at the time get multiple abortions because he didn't want to have any kids of his own. If you were once a Republican or worked for the party, I'm sure you know people like this too. The rot is so deep and it has only grown since I left. I've always said there is a huge lack of empathy in the Republican Party. Problems only become problems when they affect their own lives. They apply reason and human emotions to their own situations, but don't extend that same luxury to others. It's why Ted Cruz made excuses for his spontaneous rendezvous to Cancun, Mexico with his kids while the power grid was out in Texas during an ice storm, but he can't apply that same rationale to parents in Mexico who desperately want to bring their kids over the border for their kids' own safety.
Question from the video on the cell phone was whether the decision to go was tone deaf. Look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad, and all of us have made decisions. When you've got 2 girls who've been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, hey, look, we don't have school, why don't we go, let's get out of here. I think there are a lot of parents that'd be like, all right, if I can do this, great. That's what I wanted to do.
Or why the party that preaches family values elected a man who hires porn stars and talks about grabbing women by the pussy and they didn't even bat an eye. I mean, hey, it's just locker room talk, right?
that was locker room talk.
The self-serving bias wrought through the party has become more and more apparent after I left.
He's accused of violating the law with his undisclosed gifts from his billionaire pal. He's a threat to democracy because of his wife's behavior and his refusal to recuse. And he's morally unfit to sit on our Supreme Court, given the Anita Hill allegations.
And partly it was because of the empathy for humans that have had different experiences in life that attracted me to the Democratic Party. I'm not saying the Democratic Party is perfect or there's no hypocrisy in the Democratic Party, but to me, there's something especially insidious about denying rights to people while privately enjoying those same rights for yourself. It's something that I'm glad that I no longer personally have to be a witness to. If you have any comments or questions, comment them below and I'll try to answer them at the start of my next video. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.